jumped ahead here. Anyway, so next on the agenda, Dave, you leading this thing?
I'm hoping to.
All right, I'm going to give you the
All right.
floor then.
Good morning. Duane and I, AA5KD, are going to attempt to introduce you to ALLSTAR, its capabilities, what it takes to get on the network, costs, ease of operation, and all that kind of stuff. If you have questions about it, kind of wait a little bit till you get at the full load, and then we'll get into detailed questions. But the intent today is to make this work.
It blinked. It blinked and then went
Technology
off.
presentation has more
No,
problems
this
with
thing.
technology.
When you just fall asleep, that should be good then.
It was there for a second.
I saw it. It said ALLSTAR.
Let's try it.
No signal detected.
Can you? Oh, we're still on one. Or no, I'm still.
Where's the AV geek?
Yeah, there we go.
Look at there.
Yeah, that's what I saw a minute ago.
Here
Well,
we
that's a
go.
little print.
I was going to make up a bunch of fancy slides like I often do for a presentation, but I realized that you're going to end up on this website anyway, and almost everything I want to talk about is here. So this is where we're going to start today. And
Well, I couldn't see it anyway.
well, that's true. So listen quietly, and we'll fill you in. This is at least the audio portion. The origins of this, and I think I mentioned this before, is there was a wonderful freeware program called ALLSTAR, and it was a PBX program, so you could load that on your Raspberry Pi or computer and run an office from it, or a small business, or your home, and that works just wonderfully. So somebody said, well, let's take that a little further, and we'll add something called an rpt.conf file and an application. And that lets this thing do almost anything. It's hard to believe all the stuff. I'll go over a couple of them. But just to highlight a few, you can have it give you hourly time announcements if you want over the radio, severe weather broadcasts, and other information. You got some of those enabled at your place, and that's pretty neat. Of course, you get that over your phone too normally if you're set up. This is the allstarlink.org webpage, and this is where you go to sign up and get a node ID. So without a node ID, you can't do anything or go anywhere other than look at this help and support. And this thing has a wonderful manual for documenting, how to configure it and all that. But I'm going to get to the ultimate source. And did anybody attend the Ham Holiday presentation by Ardmore presentation by KD5 FMU? It's kind of the godfather of ALLSTAR. He has 500 videos, I think. Puts them out all the time on YouTube, and he's the master. So if you want to see how to do this, just follow his videos. And there's one that, 9 months ago, 6 months ago, that he came out with. It was an instruction for start point A all the way through. And basically, though, it's most of us probably run it on Raspberry Pi, although you can run it on other devices. And all you do to get going is simply get a Raspberry Pi, download the current image, burn it to a little micro SD card, plug it into the Raspberry Pi, log into it from your house or another computer, and then you go and load an application called Git, like get out of here. And Git lets you then go to repositories of software, one of which is the ALLSTAR link, and that will pull down and load everything you need on your laptop or whatever computer you're using, Raspberry Pi. and it works just beautifully. But you're probably going to maybe take 2 cups of coffee while all that downloads and gets configured. Let me log in here. So when you apply for a number, and they'll respond pretty quickly, and it's an authentication method to make sure you're really a ham, you have an active call sign, and so this is what keeps the non-hams out of this. So if you're talking to somebody, you can be pretty confident that he's actually a ham or she's actually a ham. So when you get that number, they'll tell you don't ask for another number if you want to put an additional note on there. What you do is that number that they give you, you can add another number, a digit at the end, 0 through 9, and that will be your second sub number. And I think you've got a couple of those already. So that keeps you from gumming up the network. And you're in charge of all that. You do all that and configure it. So I'm not going to get real deep on settings and stuff, but I'm just going to show you how easy this is. So I went to that's my server. That's the one that's at home running right now. And you fill in this page. Nothing hard here. Take the defaults and tell it where you live, and you get published. So how popular is this? Right now, there are 11,625 nodes active throughout the world. So it's not a small deal. That's pretty significant. And of course, there are many more people that have a node ID. It's not active. So some of the things that you can do with this, I just touched a couple. Like I said, the documentation is marvelous on this thing. There's a user guide, manual, and here's the neat thing is how-tos, because you say, well, I think I want to hook it up to do Echolink. There's everything you need to do Echolink configuration-wise. And you know, it's self-service, self-help here. It's not like you have to dig around and find the documentation. But I will mention this, and this is very important. If you go looking at YouTube or places like that and you decide you want to do this, about a year ago, well, first of all, this ALLSTAR link had been out for 12 years, unmodified, which is amazing in software. You never find anything that's that enduring. Well, it lasted about 12 years, and then about a year ago, they came out with ALLSTAR Link 3. Big improvements, a lot of things, but some of the configuration panels and things look similar to the old ones, but they're not. So if you look at YouTube videos, try to find ones that are more recent than a year, ideally maybe 8 months or so old, and that's the ones you want to pay attention to if you're going to do this. Now, the easy thing, though, is if you decide to do this, contact Duane or myself, and we can tell you, avoid a lot of landmines that you might run into otherwise, because it's not simple, but it's not that hard either. But with a little guidance from people that have gotten bitten a few times, it'll help. One of the things that's confusing is there are a number of different passwords that you're going to need. One, you start here with this one to get into this one. Then when you create your node, you're going to need another password. And then there's one more, there's a third one. Oh, for the Allmon 3 interface, which is the network linking and unlinking page. That's a neat one. Any questions so far? Okay. So it has a parrot mode too, just like most of the digital voice modes. So if I want to find out what my audio sounds like and adjust it for, you know, tone levels and audio characteristics, that works great. So there's an ancillary program called DV Switch, which is a marvelous piece of hardware or software. And that, if you have a node like this Raspberry Pi right here, and you add DV Switch to it, that makes it possible to pick up an Android phone, notice Android, not an iPhone, and connect directly to a node. So if I'm going to call Duane's house, for instance, well, actually I'll call my own house.
Is this using your contact list?
No, it's not a contact list. There's two parts. There's a DV Switch server application that you have to load on your Raspberry Pi at home or wherever you're using.
Connected to node 66126. Node WD
It's chatty.
5G connected to node 66126.
Now you have to connect to me.
And there's a PTT button here. This is WD5G testing. So this is kind of an entry panel because once I'm here, now I can enter another connect node up here.
I'll connect to you.
Okay. And Duane's going to call from his phone into my node. So you can add all these nodes together and almost like a conference bridge. So like our club meeting could be in theory connected this way.
Connected.
I would presume by that
Node
method you could conference bridge, for lack of a better term, our three repeaters together.
Node.
We're going to get to that. Good, thank you. Good segue.
Thank you.
Connected to node 6.
Can you hear that?
181.
It's chatty.
He's connecting to his node at home right now, 66181.
I'm connected, so I'm going to connect to him.
Now he's going to connect to my node at home, which will come out over here.
Node 661.
There it is.
6 connected to node 661.
Give me some audio.
81.
Yeah, hey Dave, 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1.
Dave, move your mouse.
And there is a little bit of a delay. Turn the audio up a little bit there.
And because my node at the house is also connected to a Raspberry Pi that does DMR,
Node WD
it will also come out on the DMR radio.
That's another neat thing to mention about DV Switch. It's a miraculous piece of software because it lets you take all these other dissimilar networks, tie them together, and make them all accessible for one another. And that's something that's been around for a long time too. DV Switch. It's really cool. It used to be that, you know, back when we started D-Star and DMR and things like that in ham radio, they were the silo effect. You know, you were either a straight up and down DMR person or Yaesu Fusion or D-Star. You didn't talk across. And now it's very common to use transcoding, they call it, and you don't even know that the other person is on DMR, for instance, if you're on Yaesu Fusion or a different protocol.
So to what extent did that conversation use cellular LTE at all?
Well, other than your phone being connected via that methodology.
Okay, so you weren't doing a Wi-Fi. You
Oh,
were
no,
doing
no.
cellular.
No, this was a commercial phone,
I get that.
AT&T,
Yes.
not Wi-Fi. AT&T phone only.
So you're using cellular in your phone, you're going from cellular down to a cell phone system switch. From there it's going out to the internet, which is going to your node, which then goes to Duane's node through the internet.
And back to his phone,
Okay.
through the internet.
So there is cellular involved
Yeah.
at the
Yes.
fringes.
But there
not-
doesn't have to be, because this one's connected Wi-Fi. So
Oh, okay.
this one's connected Wi-Fi. Now I can also connect via cellular, but I chose not to do that for this
Speak
demo.
up so these other guys can hear this.
But in a cellular overload situation, you have these options that he's talking about.
Yeah. And this doesn't have to be a cell phone thing. This could be a phone initiated connection. Like if I knew his frequency, I could bring this up, key up a node just via a handy talkie on a regular FM handy talkie.
This one is on that one,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, key up my node. Are you still connected to my node? So he would punch in, for instance, to reach my node, he would type *3 and then 66126, and that would connect to my network.
except now I can't get outbound on this because we have issues.
Yeah, that's another problem.
That's another problem.
Demos always fail in some regard. So this little $20 radio can do all kinds of things that's over a network like this. But then there's more. I talked about this a little bit last time. Is if you want to set up one of these at home and just dink around and get your feet wet, this little $20-some radio combined with this little thing called AIOC cable, that's not just a cable adapter, it looks like it, but inside it's got an actual chip, and that chip is a sound card. So you can plug this into here, plug this into your Raspberry Pi over USB-C, and then do the configuration and you're good to go. Now there's one gotcha, and that is that the people who developed ALLSTAR insisted on seeing a Charlie Mike 108 is it, or 106?
108.
108 sound card. Well, this is not a CM 108, so it would fail. So somebody wrote a program, a little shim, that lets you change this so that it says, well, if anybody ever asks you, you tell them you're a CM 108, and that's what it does. So, and it doesn't have to be permanently that way. If you decide you're done playing around, you want to get it back to normal use, there's one that says unconfigure, and then you're back in the regular mode. So 35, 25, 50 bucks, and Raspberry Pi could be a 3, 4, 5. I wouldn't probably use a 02W. There's probably a little bit too much overload. So the cost of entry is low, and you got a pretty workable system. So once you have this, then anywhere in your house or your property that was in range of one of these, you could talk RF into this, and it goes out over the ALLSTAR network. Now, one of the nice things about this is we don't have enough time to get into any in the weeds here about how you configure it, but there are a bunch of excellent menus that are written, and that's one of the other unfortunate things is you have to know about the existence of these other menus to get things configured. And if you're a Unix guy or a Linux guy, and you're savvy on all this stuff, you could go in and modify the files yourself. But this makes it much simpler to get things set up and running and get them configured in the right places. So probably not many of you would want to do that. So we talked about multi-protocols via DV switch that kind of adjunct to.
Are you still logged into me? At
I
the
don't know.
house?
No, I unlinked.
Okay.
So, Tom mentioned, what about linking repeaters with it? Well, that's one of the strong suits of this thing. So you can actually be, and maybe someday will, be using ALLSTAR, but you may not know it. And with one of these nodes placed in the RF range of a repeater, for instance, Newcastle, and we have a guy identified who lives across the street, which would be wonderful for linking into the ALLSTAR repeaters, or the Newcastle repeaters, and maybe one more in Oklahoma City vicinity, and we can set up what's called a permalink, so that those connections, anytime you key up the .21 repeater down at Newcastle, you'll also come out on .82, or one of the Oklahoma City repeaters.
I mean, you could have an all-star link on each one of our repeaters, key up one, and they all key up.
Right. So here you are on vacation, you're down in Florida, and you say, gee, I'd like to talk to the boys and girls back in Oklahoma City. Pick this up, and you dial into the node.
Or Thursday night, log in from Florida to the 8.2 repeater and get on the
Exactly. So, yes, sir.
So the repeater's gonna have a node number itself?
Yes.
Is each one, or just one node number?
Now, each repeater will have to have a node number. That's how you target that thing uniquely.
Gotcha.
But it never goes on the repeater.
Yeah.
It goes, for instance,
To the
this
node.
will be the node that's going to be at Newcastle, and that node number is going to be 664130. So,
Steve?
So you have a node, Duane has a node, the Newcastle repeater and A2 and the Integris one are all gonna get nodes. Are they sub-nodes off of your network or Duane's network node, or are they their own individual nodes?
There's
Because you said if you wanted to do multiple nodes at your house, you just add a digit.
I did say that, and yes, it could be, but it also could be W5MEL has one that's a primary node number, and then the second number would be a subsidiary. That would be .0 or 1 or whatever through 9. So that way we could stay with the club call sign, but it doesn't matter because it's not visible to anybody other than us network people that would set it up.
Right.
Now this isn't for sure we're going to do this. I mean, you got buy-in, you want to do it, and everybody want to link these, or do you not want to link them? The other choice is we could set them up with a node, and you could then call up a node, and hopefully we could leave it where it could time out and roll back. So let's say you want to link to somebody in the other part of the country. You could do that from, hypothetically, from .21 if you wanted. You log in, you punch the DTMF codes, that tells the ALLSTAR node there, hey, hook me up to somebody in China, you know. And if your Mandarin's that good, you could have a nice day. So
The reason I asked is continuity of operations. If this is something that we set up and do, something happens to you or to Duane, and if we're using your nodes, then that's a risk.
If we're gonna do it, it ought to be.
no, because
but it won't
we
be.
could both get run over by a truck, but our nodes are still registered at the ALLSTAR site, and the networking is still intact.
And is your XYL gonna leave them plugged in and powered up and
Yes,
okay.
except for nuclear emergencies, then we probably wouldn't do that.
But see, what would probably
Unless
happen is
Vicky
that
decides she's mad at all of us.
we would do a node assigned to W5MEL.
Okay.
And then, for instance, I'll give you a hypothetical. That node originally was 66413.
Okay.
I did what's called extending that node by adding and going into the server and telling the server, I want at least 10 other numbers, subnodes. So that one now is 66413.
Caught that.
So W5MEL, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever.
Okay.
Then W5MEL over at Integris would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0.
Okay.
And then the one at Newcastle would be 1, so on and so forth.
So if you wanted to, we could put up 4 of these nodes at each one of the repeaters the club owns and interlink them all, or allow us to selectively link them. And I think we can even do a time thing, like during
Yeah, I
the
think so
net.
too.
Say at 7 o'clock, I want this linked up, and then take it down at 9.
They understand just what is sitting on the corner there would have to be at each repeater
Yes.
in terms of hardware.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to get to hardware in a minute. I'll let him talk about that primarily, but
Real quick,
Do we have an active 5-digit ALLSTAR number to connect? I have nodes at Lawton, and so I want to listen to the net. Do we have any repeaters that actually have an ALLSTAR number?
Not yet.
Not here, not yet.
There may be some in the state, I don't know.
There are, Freddie Mac has one.
Freddie Mac, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glossed over that. Freddie Mac is a genius on all things All-Star. And like I said, he does a huge number of videos. So if you don't remember anything else and you want to get into this, Kilo Delta 5 Fox Mike Uniform, KD5 FMU, Freddie Mac, Fred McGuire, lives out in Henrietta, and he's really the go-to guy
He
if you
got
want some
that.
stuff.
He got that way because the folks that really came up with All Star didn't really document it very well. So when All Star 3 came out,
Duane?
Yeah, there you go.
when All Star 3 came out, the All Star boys needed somebody to do that. Well, Freddie volunteered. So he became the de facto standard for all the documentation for All Star Link 3. He has probably today 10, maybe 15 videos on All Star Link, just All Star. So if you need to know something, Freddie Mac is the guy to go to on All Star. KD5 FMU, Kilo Delta 5 Fox Mike Uniform. He's the smart guy. Matter of fact, when I first set my node up, I watched all of his videos before I even did that, and I had very little issues with it.
Okay, I did have one other one. There's another call sign N5FM that I saw some email discussions going on about whether or not to release N5FM.
To release N5M?
It's expired or expiring, giving it up. Was one of the emails
Mike
I
Salem,
saw.
N5MS?
No, N5FM.
Oh, Fred
We talked
McCollum,
about
yeah.
that in new
Frank
business.
McCollum.
Frank McCollum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we use that call sign instead of W5MEL?
Well, we're not the owner of that, I don't
I
think.
understand, but if they're gonna give it up,
Well, yeah, we could, yeah. But there's no reason not to use it W5MEL, that's the club call sign.
okay.
Who is the owner of N5FM at the current time?
Don't know.
Well, it should be on it should be in the license.
Well, probably is, I don't have a copy of the
We're
license
gonna
here.
talk about that in new business.
Okay, sorry. I was just linking things together.
So, where was that map, the spider map that shows all the nodes, different things?
Last
are
thing I
connected
knew,
to?
that N5FM was the Salvation Army Radio Club.
Yes,
Or something to that effect.
it was.
List and stats.
So let's just say, you wanna find out, well, let's start with.
KD5 FMU.
No, we're gonna start with multi.
Two of them. N7 DOD.
Yeah, see, there are 4 nodes. So if I wanna target
Take that.
Lawton, Oklahoma, there are 4 nodes down there, and these are the node numbers
Who showed up? You went to Craft first.
that I can select. So one of those might be a repeater. It looks like this one is a repeater for Skynet. So you could access that over RF, or you could do it this way. And what that, see the WT, the Whiskey Tango at the end? What that means is that it's got DV switch enabled, so I can take this Android phone with the DV switch app, access any one of those nodes with that WT. So I have 4 choices there in Lawton. Actually, let's just call up one and see what happens.
Yeah.
43303.
Dave, quick question while the numbers are crunching. You mentioned that software is only for Android.
Yes,
Are they developing any for?
I'm unaware of it.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say no, and the reason is that for people like us that are hams that are cheap and don't wanna spend money, Apple charges huge amounts of money to host an app or allow you to put an app on the web, and licensing costs for like serial connectivity. So That's one of the reasons that an Android will give you many more options for ham radio programs than iPhones do.
Now there is an app called Zoiper. I have never used it,
Yeah.
but it's for iPhone.
iPhone installation.
Yeah.
Do you know if this node is up, this 43303?
Well, it's not green, so therefore I've tried connecting to it. The only active node in Lawton is mine, which is 64909. N7DD, if you scroll down just a tad more.
Oh, yeah.
The only one's active
Yeah.
is mine, and it's not a repeater.
That's what I was saying. You see how many more of these, if they were active, they'd had the green dot, the green field there. So there's a lot of people have a number and they did it and moved on, and that's the end of it. So the system's gummed up with lots of these. But we could select anything up there. That guy right there, your home node, we could call that right now and get a connection. What is that? 64909?
What will we get at his home? The refrigerator? How many gallons of milk are left?
Gallon and a half.
Here's something.
You remember me saying that on live demos something always goes wrong? All failed. Okay. In principle, that should have worked. But. Now, any questions about getting on the net, requesting a node, and where the information is? ALLSTARlink.org. And I'm going to let Duane talk about hardware here and what we did. And I mentioned a little bit. Remember, you don't have to spend a lot of money, $25, $35. And a Raspberry Pi that many of you probably have laying around in a drawer somewhere or closet. And that's all it takes. You're good to go. So.
Now, is it only Raspberry Pi, or can you load it onto any computer?
It's a Linux environment.
Okay.
So for simplicity and cheapness, Raspberry Pis are the answer. And they work great. There's plenty of horsepower there to get the job done. And they're readily available. But yes, it could be Freddie Mac has a video on how to convert what are those called?
Orange Pi.
No,
Orange Pi
I can't think of the name. The terminals that request an IP when you turn them on. You see them in businesses everywhere. Can't think of the word. Anyway, they're available on eBay, $50, $90. You can do it could be an old computer at home that you run Linux on. So it's not Raspberry Pi dependent.
No.
Okay. You want to talk about now? Any more questions before I leave about connectivity, interoperability, what it takes to get something done, or how we might use it? Okay, Duane, hardware.
Hardware.
You want to put your computer up here? Or do it?
Hardware.
Okay.
Currently today, Raspberry Pi is the going thing for ALLSTAR. Now, you can run DV Switch. You can run DV Switch on a laptop. You can run it on an Android phone, wherever. Then, the hardest part, I guess, about this whole thing is you just, at least I couldn't, you just can't bring your PC up, bring your Raspberry Pi up and go to town. I had to do a little reading before that so that I could make sure that I knew the right places to go to. And then with Freddie Mac's YouTube videos, he takes you through it all. I mean, he does very well. But, and like I said, his call sign is KD5FNU. But let's get back to hardware. Raspberry Pi 20W is the new Raspberry Pi, and it's much better than the old Raspberry Pi 2. It's now a quad processor. This is a Raspberry Pi 02W running the old version of Pi-Star, which is now WPSD. And the good thing about the Raspberry Pi Zeros is they're only $15, and they're dirt cheap. This is currently a hotspot, and buying the radios for a hotspot that will allow you to do cross-moding through the DV Switch app. So I have DV Switch running on my PC at the house, along with the Allmon 3, which shows me the connections that are on my node at the house. But I mean, other than your radio,
Well, one of the things, once you get this loaded, the software loaded, there is a marvelous new web-based interface that lets you see the system administration. There's a network tab, shows your network level of traffic, which interfaces are up. Another one is software updates, which they've done a great job. You don't have to worry about it breaking the thing. Somebody tests it before they post it.
and it will do the software updates automatically.
Yes, but I choose manually because I want to know what's happening. So, and then the other thing is there's a terminal mode. So you want to do something from the Linux command line. For those of you that are real gutsy, you pick terminal, and then go to the particular configuration file you want, edit it, and save it, and move on. But it's very rich environment. It really makes managing and controlling one of these things very, very simple. And you don't have to have a lot of in-depth technical knowledge because there's a box there that says IP address. What would you put in there? Your IP address. So it's really very straightforward. So I wouldn't be afraid of, carrying and feeding
No,
one of these
mm-mm.
long term.
It's just it's not. If you don't have any Linux skills, it'll talk you through it, but
He tells you what to type in.
he tells you what to type in there, and then most of the tutorials that I've seen, including the ALLSTAR complete documentation that's out there,
Yeah.
it'll tell you what to do. Go ahead.
I have the RF Shark 1 and 2. This one, does it do All-Star? Does it expand on what it already does?
The M1KE does,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, funny you should mention that. Are you logged into your home node? Anything?
Yeah. At least I think I am.
Connected to node 66181.
AA5KD, WD5G testing. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
It's not.
Yeah, they put the microphone up too.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, go ahead and talk.
This is WD5G testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. WD5G testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now, hold on. Don't disconnect. Now, from there, I have WPSD running on this box, and this is an Anytone
Talk into the
878.
microphone.
I will. Hang on. Chill out, man.
To talk to us.
Oh, chill out. Now
Start
do
calling
it.
you whisper.
Do it again, and I'll put it up to this D-Star. I mean, this DMR radio.
This is WD5G sending digital information out through the internet and through into Duane's radio. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Sending digital information in through the internet and through 1, 2, 3. Zero. Testing 1, 2, 3.
So that's going. You're connected ALLSTAR,
Yeah.
and it's going out DMR. And if you decide you want to do P25, NXDN, YSF, Fusion, whatever you want to do, that little box will transcode all of it.
Yeah. This is an amazing piece of kit. I can get rid of a bunch of radios at home and have
But will you?
much more capability.
Right.
It's
See,
just
I'm
you
not
gotta get
going
used to
to.
it. Yeah. But somebody has to keep all this charged, somebody has to keep all the cables, the software updated and all that nonsense. This takes care of it all. One-stop shopping.
And
Yeah.
how much is the M1KE that you're waiting around?
Shipping, I ordered it on Saturday night at about 10 o'clock. I had it at home about 10:30 or 11 on Wednesday morning, a couple days later. This thing it cost me $3.92 and $29 of that was shipping. There is no tariff cost. And it comes from Estonia. That's the astonishing thing. It came from Estonia and I had it in under 3 days. Pretty amazing.
That's the M1KE.
Uh-huh.
You say that was 392?
$3.92 total.
Where's the decimal point?
Hmm?
Where's the decimal point?
After
Right behind the
two.
2.
Oh, okay.
And now, this gentleman looked at it this morning, and it was a little bit higher, so I guess the exchange rate has changed. That'll fluctuate daily.
I'm showing 406.52 right
Yep.
now.
Yeah, that's the current exchange rate.
But if you buy two, you can get them for $394.30.
That's right, you save $5 on each one. But this takes care of all those other radios, and if you're gonna go somewhere in the car, you can access anything over this little guy, and you don't have to have a radio
So
installed.
that becomes a mobile rig?
Hmm?
That little thing becomes a mobile rig?
Absolutely, it's anywhere in the world you take it if you have Wi-Fi access.
Huh.
I'm talking right now through the phone, is my cell phone hotspot, and that's all it takes.
So it's not a radio. I mean, it's not a.
Well, it's
Yeah,
kind of a
Mark.
hotspot that has a microphone and a speaker built into it.
All right.
What I have it is.
Okay.
It's like a.
The technology is, this is Wi-Fi to the phone or some other hotspot or your home network, your router. It's a Wi-Fi connected device.
Okay.
It will not work on HF or anything else.
It's essentially a small VoIP phone, then, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you could think of it that way, but one that does all the amateur protocols, NXDN, P25, everything.
So by using your cell phone hotspot, you have a pretend ham radio
Absolutely.
on any band?
No, digital.
Only.
Digital doesn't know bands.
Okay.
It does on the RF part of digital, like if we have a digital repeater, which we have 2 of. If you talk digitally to them, then yeah, it's RF and it is digital. But normally, the interconnecting part of it is all done over internet and the particular protocol you're using. But anyway, that's just kind of a bonus thing I threw in here. This is just incredible. One more neat thing too, if you're messing with this little quick connect thing lets me connect to anything. Just that easy. Now you can also do it with the side buttons, but if you're driving in the car, that's kind of a pain.
5G disconnected.
Come on. Yeah, nobody's talking on 30 Charlie right now.
So, question as far as linking the repeaters, there's a delay. If we link, let's just say 2 of our repeaters and we're doing a net, and we've got 2 repeaters, is that delay going to, how's that gonna?
You'll have to wait a little bit,
But you can bring that delay down. I
And
believe.
yeah, we can take that down, I think. So in effect, it just becomes a tunnel that's always there. But we already have some built-in delays. Like somebody used to tell me on the networking thing at a Tinkerbell, that takes another half a millisecond or half a second, 500 milliseconds. So I said, well, what would you do with that time if you had it?
No
Not much
answer.
you can do in that time.
So, just to clarify, if we wanted to link, let's just say 2 repeaters, we've gotta have 2 Raspberry Pis.
Or other computers.
Okay, let's just say Raspberry Pis, and each of them have to have, plus some way to link them to the internet.
Now wait a minute, what I didn't tell you, didn't show you,
Well, that was a key question at the last.
I'm gonna show you what I did,
So,
and
while
this
he's
is,
looking for that, Duane, correct me if I'm wrong. For the 2-1 site, we would put the equipment in there, would use RF to get to the gentleman, I met him at Ham Holiday,
Matt.
Matt, that lives like less than a mile away from the repeater.
But it doesn't have to be.
Okay, but no, I'm just,
Because we
thinking
have a
of what we have
network
now.
in Newcastle right now that belongs to Bob, okay, Robert.
okay.
And we can use that too, because he's upgraded that since we've talked about this last.
Okay.
So-
He is perfectly fine with us using his hotspot.
He is.
As long as we don't make his rate go up.
but we also have a commitment from the guy that lives across the road to host it there, and he'd be happy to do that, so that takes care of that whole thing. We don't have to worry about
The key thing that
exceeding.
was in my mind was it needs an internet connection to be able to make this device work effectively.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We could do it with RF, but it'd be hugely expensive and a cost we don't want to bear. So, we didn't show you this, I meant to. The way I got started is, this is what I bought, a thing called a Shari Pi, SHARITI. And this guy plugged, see these 2 USB connectors? They are spaced exactly right to plug into a Raspberry Pi by design. So you put them together, load the software, and then this guy has an antenna right there that plugs into the other side. That they're not right there.
Now the only difference that he is showing you now between that and this is a Raspberry Pi 5. And that case is specifically made for a Raspberry Pi 5, and the Sherry Pi sits up on top of it, unlike that box right there.
But if you don't want to fool around with, one of these and one of these to make your own low-cost node, you could buy one of them, plug it into your Raspberry Pi, and you're good to go. So this guy converts the RF right here through the antenna. And so at home, for instance, when I use this little talkie around the house and the Downing estate, I press this button, it goes to my hotspot and out to the world. So all through that, and it's a really, really slick device. But a fairly low cost. Now, there's a couple of companies sell this. I would suggest that you buy this one from a company called AurSync, AURSINC. And the reason is that their stuff's a little higher quality. Some of these were noted for not having very good audio, like Freddie Mac said
The
that.
Chinese clones.
Yeah. So these, I think, AurSync's, I think, a Chinese company too.
Yeah, but they are a reputable.
Yeah, yeah.
If
Yeah,
you
so
can
this
say
is-
reputable and Chinese in the same sentence.
There is?
Yeah.
Are those not the mutually exclusive?
So in Chinese, these are Ding Hao.
So that replaces the handheld and the AIOC that you were showing in the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And it doesn't get hot or use a bunch of current. And it has 1 watt out. So it's very sufficient for what it's designed to do.
So at Newcastle, we have internet through Roberts. All we have to do is plug into it, and he's fine with that. And
But
we don't have
as long as we
internet-
don't exceed his monthly quota,
Right, well, we'll just have to see how that goes.
Which I don't think we would ever do.
probably not.
I'm gonna say this, I just purchased, you don't need to record me. I just purchased a hotspot through Verizon on my cell phone plan, and I paid $10 a month, and I've got a hotspot, which I didn't bring with me,
Mm-mm.
that I will donate to the club, and I will pay the $10 a month. It's on my bill, and I will pay that if we that, say, at the 8.2, and try linking the 2.1 and the 8.2 together and just see how it works.
Yeah. You know, that's one half of it, and we got the other half solved with Matt agreeing to host it down at Newcastle.
We don't need him. We've got Robert. All we have to do is plug in and he's fine with it.
Okay.
That's exactly right, but there's a long air gap between where he is in his network and Black's downtown and north of the Capitol, if you're gonna link 8.2. So you
Why?
take,
The internet is doing that for us. The internet is connecting the 8.2 and the 21. We
no,
just
it's
gotta have,
connecting 21, cause that's where you're gonna put your hotspot, right? In 8.2, there is no hotspot there, and we
No, we
don't
put
have
one
one.
down there too.
That's
He's
what he
donating
just
the
said.
hotspot.
He's donating the hotspot.
Okay, that's right, that's great, but how many hotspots does it take?
Well, it'll take one at every repeater site.
That's right, and that would be 2, so we have 1, need 2.
But we have
That's what I'm
Robert's,
saying.
which is free for us, and
Until,
I'm donating.
as
one
long as
to
we
the
don't do
8.2.
tilt on the network,
So there is no cost.
as long as we don't exceed the network traffic, and he said, get out of here.
Well, it's the same thing with
Okay,
mine.
in which case we buy another $10 one and go.
However you wanna do it, it's fine.
I'm just saying, all we
Yep.
need is 2 Raspberry Pis.
Yeah. Is there anything we didn't cover? Any questions? Duane or I, will be glad to answer any questions or handhold you and help you get it going. It's, like I said, it's pretty easy, but there's a lot to it. All right.